All right, guys, we're going to be looking at 12.3 here, okay? There are no notes or examples on these, okay? Just the practice. So you guys will be completing the evens on the practice and an exit slip. I'm going to be doing the odds here. So I've got 4 of these that I'm going to be working with you. We're going to take our time, walk through these, all right? 12.2, I showed you how to use the box method. Okay, so that's what we're going to be using here, but the main difference is we're not dealing with x squared plus bx plus c. We're dealing with questions that have a number in front of that squared term. Okay, as you can see here that I've highlighted. When doing these, and we're going to walk through them, and I think this will clear up any questions you have about this, but the first thing we have to do is just adding another step, all right? And the first thing I have to do is I have to multiply these two numbers here. All right, 63 times 2 is 126. All right, so instead of finding the factors of that last term when they're like this, you actually have to find the factors of that number. So the factors of 126 are 126, 1 and 126, all right, 2 and 63, 3 and 42, 6 and 21, 7 and 18, 9 and 14, and that's it. Okay? Now everything is the same as what we did in our last video. Okay? I have to look at my second sign, right? I have a negative, so that tells me these are going to be different. And I look at my first sign to see the sign of the larger factor. Well, the larger factor, which are all of these here, are going to be positive. And if they're different signs, that means that these will be negative. All right, so if I come here, I'd have 125, 61, 39, 15, 11, and 5. Okay? Now, I'm looking for those factors that add up to my middle term here, which was 11, which is this right here, negative 7 and 18. Now, this is where I go to my box. Okay? I go to my box. Top left corner is my first term. So it's 2n squared. Negative 63 will go here. And now I have negative 7n here and 18n there. All right, so we go back to our last video. I'm finding the greatest common factor of my rows and columns. Doesn't matter which way I go first, if you remember that. We will start... Let's start with our columns. Let's go 2n squared and 18n. Greatest common factor of 2 and 18 is 2. Greatest common factor of n squared and n is going to be n. The greatest common factor of negative 7n, let me change that back. Greatest common factor of negative 7n and negative 63 is going to be a 7. I'm touching a negative box there, so it's going to be a minus 7. I come down, I'm going to go across my rows. The greatest common factor of 2 and negative 7 is just 1. Greatest common factor of n squared and n is n. All right. Greatest common factor of 18 and negative 63 is 9. I don't have a variable with negative 63, so it can't be a part of my greatest common factor. I was touching a positive box, so that's going to be positive. So I have 2n minus 7 times n plus 9. Okay, so for this one, that is C. Okay, so the only difference in what I did here was I didn't find the factors of that last number, right? I found the factors of when I multiplied the first term and the last term together. I found the factors of that number that added up to the middle term. So we're going to do another one. Okay, this one's not multiple choice, but that doesn't matter, right? We can do these. All right, so number 3. When I multiply 2n squared and 10, that's going to give me 20n squared. All right, so the greatest, I will now be finding the greatest common factor of 20n squared, which is n and 20n, right, because that's a 1n, 2n and 10n, and 4n and 5n. Now, look at my rules. All right, I have a positive. That tells me they're going to be the same sign. And they're both negative. So both of these are negative. All factors are negative. I can simplify those. That's negative 21n, negative 12n, and negative 9n. And I'm looking for the one that adds up to the middle term, or to my middle term here. And that's negative n and 20n. So I draw my box. And my first term will go here. So I have 2n squared here. I'll have 10 here. And I'll have a negative n and a negative 20n. Now, find my greatest common factors. Greatest common factor of 2n squared and 20n. Let's use blue. I have 2n squared and n is going to be an n, and I'm touching a positive box, so it'll stay positive. I have a negative 1n and 10. Greatest common factor of 1 and 10 is 1. I don't have a variable in both of these, so that can't be in common, so I'm going to have a 1, and I'm touching a negative box here, so it'd be 2n minus 1. All right. Now I'm going to go my other way. 2n squared and negative n is just going to be n. Negative 20 and 10, the greatest common factor is 10, and I'm touching a negative box. So my solution is 2n minus 1 times n minus 10. All right. Now, like we talked about yesterday in that video, I can check all of these. Let's check one. Okay, where I'll distribute this to both terms. Well, that'd give me 2n squared minus 20n minus n plus 10. Combine my like terms here. I'd have 2n squared minus 21n plus 10. That should be the same exact thing as what I have here. And it is, so I got it right. Okay, guys, if you have any doubt on your work, check yourself. Okay, check your work. All right, number 5. Now this one is going to be a little more difficult in the sense of you're finding the factors of a pretty big number here once we do this. All right, so I'm actually going to erase this work up here so I have a little more room. You'll still be able to see it if you just rewind the video. Okay? You'll still be able to see that, so you can rewind it. Remember, I have to multiply my first term and my last term. 10b squared and 18 is going to be 180b squared. So I have to find the factors of 180. Now, don't freak out about that, guys. That's not too big of a deal. All right? Obviously, I'll have b and 180b. I'll have 2b and 90b. I'll have 3b and 60b. I'll have 4b and 45b. I'll have 5b. Let's zoom out a little bit. I'll have 5b and 36b. I'll have 9b, and I'm going to give myself a little room here. 9b and 30b. That is not correct. Yeah. It's going to be 9b and 20b, sorry. And it will be 10b and 18b. 12b and 15b. All right, so now I'm looking for the ones. I got to look at my rules. They're positive, so that means they're same, and they're both going to be positive. So if I simplify these, I'm looking for the ones that add up to 27. All right, and just to save some time, it's going to be this one here. Okay. That's now where I'll make my box. All right, I'll make my box. First term will be 10b squared. Last one will be 18. I'll have 12b and 15b. Now I'm finding my greatest common factor. All right, so this one is going to be 5b for 10b squared and 15b. Greatest common factor of 12 and 18 is 6. I have no b here, so it can't be in common. Greatest common factor of 10 and 12 is 2. Greatest common factor of b squared and b is b. And then 15 and 18 is 3. I was touching, everything's positive, so I'm not going to have any negatives in this. So my answer here is 5b plus 6 and 2b plus 3, which is D. All right, so let's move on to 7. Now that one, did I do anything differently on number 5 than I did on any other question? No, I just had a big number that I had to find the factors of. My rules were still the exact same. I still used the box method. I did all that stuff the exact same. I just had a bigger number I had to find the factors of. Okay, so don't let that be too intimidating. So once again, I'm going to multiply these. That's going to give me 36b squared for number 7. That is a b, sorry. So the factors of 36b squared are b and 36b. 2b and 18b. 3b and 12b. 4b and 9b. 6b and 6b. In my rules, they're the same, and they're both going to be positive. So, pretty easy. I can come down through here. That is 20b. 15b, 13b, 12b. And I'm looking for the ones that add up to my middle term, and my middle term here was 37b. So that's just going to be b and 36b, right? So I draw my box. First term here. Last term here. I'll have b and 36b. Okay, find my greatest common factor. We're going to go up and down here. So 6b squared and 36b. Greatest common factor of 6 and 36. Okay, this is going to be 6. Greatest common factor of b squared and b is just b. Greatest common factor of b and 6 is just going to be 1, and it's touching a positive box. So the greatest common factor now of 6b squared and b is also just going to be b. Greatest common factor of 36b and 6. The greatest common factor of 36 and 6 is 6. I will not have a b included because I do not have a b here, so they don't have that in common. And that's a positive box there. So my solution is going to be 6b plus 1 times b plus 6. All right. Hopefully that's cleared up some stuff. Once again, if you all have questions, please let us know. Okay, you're to complete the evens here. All right. Looking at number 6 right here, you're going to be finding the factors of 270. All right. Use your calculator, use Desmos, find the factors of 270 that will be adding up to 62. You will be fine. Okay, this is not that bad. It's just a little more work. All right, but if you can do those, you can do any of them. Okay, so that's why we have you do the ones like that. You'll have a great day. Once again, if you have any questions or any needs, please let us know. Thank you.